The first thing was to work with the congregation and uncover how they felt about the building and the site and its problems. The driving force actually came from a good number of people in the congregation. Unlike many places where vicars have to sort of push and encourage the congregation, my role was more to restrain them and say, look, we can do this or we can do that, but we can't do both at the same time.
I think the inspiration came first from a value statement that we did as a church to say, why do we exist? An important role of the church was doing what it could for its local community, and saw this project as a great vehicle for doing that. Funding for the project has come from a number of quarters. In the early days, we really used our own resources to do some of the preliminary work, sort of consultations on. When it looked as though we were going to actually get some real money, we managed to get £20,000 from Kings Heath Centre Partnership to fund some landscape architectural work. We went through a process of detailed design, looking at how the church, how the community viewed the village square, what they wanted in that village square in terms of features and attributes. That enabled us to submit a lottery bid, and it also enabled us to talk to the council. The council allocated £200,000 initially, if we could get additional money from elsewhere. But that commitment for £200,000 enabled us to get over £400,000 from the lottery, giving us a total budget of over £600,000. When was it the sort of point of no return? The point of no return for the whole project. They got a crane and a ball, and they were demolishing. And I remember seeing the ball swing for the first time into the gable end of the vicarage, and we were standing around thinking, we've done it. This is it. The job started. There's no turning back.
Well, I think we've had four major roles to play. The funding one we've just talked about. Second one was prior to the regeneration scheme. The main focal point at the corner of the junction was a set of public toilets. It was my responsibility to arrange for those to be relocated to the other side of the road because we didn't want those to be the focal point, and the City Council's funded those. We've also gifted land. About a third of the square that you currently see used to be public highway with parking. And then the fourth role was really connected with my planning role, sitting on the steering group and advising on things like the landscaping design, what materials to use, what planting scheme, because the church itself is a listed building, and we're very interested in how we bring built form forward that respects the setting of that listed building.
The concept for the project was inspired because we did go to visit other venues across the country. That's the reason we have a medical centre on the site, as well as the recited War Memorial, bubble pavement water feature, the labyrinth. Desire of the people from the local community was to have a leafy green space where people could relax, meet, chat, enjoy, and that we evolved the ethos to include healthy living as well as spiritual welfare. The War Memorial was rather insignificant and hidden, almost behind a couple of trees. So we made the decision to make that more prominent, so it now has its own discrete space. It is intended to be both a recognition of the sacrifices that were made by people from the community in the Great War.
Well, there had been various stages of community consultation prior to the appointment of RGA as the scheme designers. But our first task was to pull those together into an overall concept. The second way in which we got people involved was in the development of the labyrinth idea. We began by spending a day at the youth project where we talked about labyrinths with the young people using the project, and different children came up with different things that interested them. But then I took some of those ideas and synthesised them into possible layouts for the labyrinth. So there were several stages of community consultation and involvement, which really enriched the scheme in the end.
I wanted to get involved because I think the best way of making sure that things happen is to get involved and try and move things forward. The response from the businesses and from residents and everybody and the council has been very positive right from the start. I think everybody saw this as a fantastic opportunity to create a community area and a focal point for Kings Heath as well, because Kings Heath can be seen as just being a corridor of traffic and shops, and I think there's nowhere that you could stop and congregate as a community, so where everybody could get together. So I think everyone was very supportive.
It wasn't a square, it was very much a bricked off graveyard area with a path running around it. It was not the heart of the community. Now it is transformed. The open area is a superb public open space, and it brings the community together, and it is a village square, and it's absolutely wonderful.